Hey, what's up? DFS Rico coming at you with my picks and insight for this 5-game KBO slate on Friday, May 15th. This is like the night slate. Obviously, we have 5 games. If you haven't played KBO, there's only 10 teams in the league. There's always 5 games. They all play on the same day usually, unless there's games that are postponed or canceled, kind of like yesterday. The weather was pretty bad. I think we had 2 games canceled yesterday, so always be on the lookout for that. As of right now, all the games look like they're ready to go. They're going to be good to go. But the key thing to look at is we have 2 games starting at 11 p.m. and 3 games starting at 2 a.m. Well, my time. So we have 3 games starting 3 hours after initial kickoffs or whatever you want to call it. So if you are going to be building lineups, just know that they're changing lineups. If you're going to be waiting on those later games, you're going to want to make sure you get up or stay up just to build those lineups. So I could see a lot of people playing players from the first 2 games, which is a lot in the hand game and then the KIW and LG game. So just be on the lookout for that. Just know that we don't get lineups until like 30 minutes to an hour before the lock before their game starts. So, I mean, you can do some backtracking and look at recent games and look at the guys who've been playing the most at certain spots in the lineups, and then just kind of go from there if you don't want to be waiting all night. But it's usually a safe way to go. It can work because you usually know the better players on the team. It's usually like the 1 through 6 guys that aren't changing in the lineup. But yeah, and just jumping on with that, I usually do try to focus on like three player stacks or 4 player stacks, and then kind of like filler at the end. But normally I'm trying to focus on those 1 through 6 guys because there's such a big difference between the 1 through 6 guys in this league compared to the 7, 8, and 9 guy. Like, it's just so massive that if you can try to fit as many of those guys as you can that you like, you're usually in a better position for upside compared to other people that are going to be playing 7, 8, or 9 hitters. So just be on the lookout for that. I mean, sometimes you have to just due to prices if you want to play some of the more expensive guys, which does make sense. I'm not going to say never play those guys, but usually a good thing to do is try to keep them to a minimum at least, at 1 guy at the most, honestly. So that's kind of my strategy. But before I get into the slate as well, like, just if you can like, subscribe, comment, I really do appreciate it. Just going to go through some pictures that I like, some guys I'm going to target, and then just go from there. So you got Soppold at the top for Hanwha. He's been playing pretty good this season. He's pretty solid. Really good starter, continuously getting quality starts. He is playing against a team that I think is pretty good. The Lot Giants, I do think they are really good. So I'm doing kind of careful with them, but he has 2 quality starts this season. He's been playing pretty good. He rarely allows over like 2 or 3 runs per game, so he is kind of safe. But at 9.7K, I could go somewhere else, but I think he is safe if you're playing like cash or some smaller entry ones. I don't mind him at least. And then you got H. Yang at 9K, which I think a lot of people will be playing away from him just because he is playing against Doosan, which is the best team. But he's actually like on the same boat as Soppold. He is a little cheaper. He has higher K upside. He didn't play good in his first start this season. He played better in his second one. But he was the best pitcher in the league last season, so he is pretty good. I do like him. I think if you want to be different, I don't mind playing him against Doosan for 9K. He's kind of the same where he hasn't allowed over 3 runs in a long time. Yeah, he hasn't allowed over 3 runs in a long time other than the one this season. I mean, he had that bad start at the start of the season, but before that, he was playing really good. I mean, I think it went like 15 games back before he even had a game where he allowed 2 or 3 runs, which is really, really good. And he has that K upside. Led the league in Ks last season, so he is good. I think that's more a contrarian play if you want to be a little different. But scrolling down a little, my favorite pitcher that I do want to talk about is Casey Kelly for the LG Twins. I do like him at 8K. Good price, a little cheaper than the guys I just talked about, cheaper than Brigham, and I actually do like him a little better. I think more people will be playing Brigham, but KIW hasn't been performing good all season. They have a really low team averages across the board. ERA is low, on base percentage is low, home runs are low. They just haven't been playing too good. They've been striking out a good amount as well. Casey Kelly with a 2.71 ERA, 6.3 K per 9 innings, and 1.14 walks and hits per innings pitched. He's the second lowest on the slate on that department, and K through 9, he's kind of in the middle of the pack. But some of these other guys, I feel like their numbers are a little skewed because a couple of the starters today came from being relief pitchers, and now they're like starting pitchers, barely starting this season. So I feel like some of their numbers are a little skewed in my opinion. But yeah, the pitcher I'm going to want to target today, so I am going to be plugging Casey Kelly, and I do like him. Pitcher I'm really going to be targeting, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be targeting, is this... Where is he at? Sorry, not him. I mean, him too. People will be targeting him too, but more people will be targeting this young Hwan Yoon. Hasn't played good really ever. 5.18 ERA, 4 Ks per 9 innings, which is the lowest on the slate. KT Wiz are coming in with the highest implied total on the slate. Played really good last season when Rojas and them are hitting the ball. They play like they did yesterday. They haven't been playing good all year, but I mean, I think they're in another plus matchup against Samsung again. So that is a pitcher I do want to be targeting, and I'm sure a lot of people will be targeting that guy. But jumping on that stack that I was talking about, so going on to hitters or stacks, I'm just going to go through some stacks that I do like. Like I did mention, I do like stacking players, so I do like, you can play Samsung. I'm going to be a little contrarian, I think, and not play them. Just play the other side, the pitcher. But I do like KT Wiz. I think they'll be the highest owned stack on the slate. Like I mentioned, they have the highest implied run total. And then I will also be playing NC Dinos. They're the best team in the league so far, record-wise. Maybe not run-wise, but they have been playing pretty good. They got the best team OPS on the slate. They're really good with runners in scoring position. They're about like second in the league with runners in scoring position. Like I mentioned, they're middle of the pack in runs scored. They've only had 2 games this season where they scored below 4 runs, and they've had some games where they scored over 9, 10 runs. So they do have those breakout games, and they rarely go in a slump. So like they've been pretty consistent all season. So I'd rather just play with that upside that they have in a matchup where I think people are going to be playing the SK Wyverns pitcher against NCD. Some people I think will be playing him, because he does lead the slate on K through 9, so his numbers are a little skewed. Like I mentioned, he was a relief pitcher before. But, yeah, that's the 2 stacks that I really do like, and I'll just give you a player that I like from each team. So for KT Wiz, I do like Mel Rojas Jr., 4.62 batting average, 1.244 OPS. It's 2 home runs on the season. He doesn't have that many RBIs, but yesterday he did put up 1, got a walk, hit a home run. He hasn't been too consistent, but when he has breakout games, he is good. I mean, he's getting the ball in play, so that's all we can ask for at this point. I mean, if his guys ahead of him aren't getting on base, it's a little harder for him to get more numbers, but once those guys start clicking, you can see a lot of these numbers getting skewed really in his favor. So I do like Rojas. They're both of those stats I mentioned are the highest on the slate on his team. And then for the NC Dinos, so I'll be plugging him in if I'm going to be building a stack around him. And for the Dinos, I do really like Minwoo Park, 4.410 ER. Batting average, 7 RBIs. He is the leadoff hitter for the team, so you're going to see him get a little less RBIs, but he does get on base. If the guys behind him could bring him home, he would be playing a little better, in my opinion. As you can tell, he had 4 hits yesterday, or this morning, whatever you want to call it. He had 0 runs. And he had 18 points. I mean, he had 2 RBIs, but if you have the guys behind him hitting a little better, bringing him home, those numbers could be a little more inflated, you know what I mean? So he could be playing a little better. The guys behind him aren't playing as good, but they have one of their bigger games today. He could really be capitalizing off that. He's just really good at getting on base with .465 on base percentage, which leads the team in batting average. He's a leadoff hitter, leads the team in doubles, and like I mentioned, they're just the best team so far. They've been the most consistent, in my opinion, as far as like runs scored. They're not the most explosive, but they have been the most consistent. So that I do like the NC Dinos as well. And I think that's really it. I mean, like I mentioned, just going back to stacks, KT Wiz. I don't mind Samsung. I don't mind Doosan, obviously. NC Dinos I do like for a little sneakier, lower owned stack. And I do actually like the Lot Giants. for a little contrarian play because I think they could be pretty decent today. But yeah, I think that's really it. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. Subscribe, like, thank you.